I'm Dustin Harder, and this is Keep On Cooking. Hello and welcome to Keep On Cooking, the only podcast dedicated to plant-based cookbooks. I'm your host, Dustin Harder, and you're in room 624?
Oh my God.
I'm in room 111.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It's my husband
No.
and producer of the podcast, Mr. Rossetti. How you doing, Roro?
It's me. Roro's doing good.
It's me.
How's da?
Dee
Or
da
har
da.
har.
Wow.
Har?
You know,
Mr.
I'm
Har
good.
har?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm hanging in. Did a lot of traveling this last week, which
You
is where
did.
I was quoting, if you don't know, if you're listening, well, you are listening, and you don't know, that was Barb and Star.
The
movie Barb and Star.
Vista Del Mar.
Go to Vista Del Mar. I watched it on the way back
Oh
from
my God.
California. I watched it on the plane.
If you have not seen it, it's just the best movie.
It's just the best. You're in room 624?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's one of my favorite. I hadn't watched it in a while. We've watched it several times, but I hadn't watched it in a while. So when that line came and she's like, "You're in room 624. We're in room 111." I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is just hysterical." Everything about that movie is so funny. Yeah, so many sound bites. And then I watched Girls Trip. I literally just had a comedy fest on the way home.
You sure did.
The internet was down on the plane, and I was like, "Guess what? I'm leaning in, and I'm not working. The internet is down."
So
yeah,
movie time.
Movie time. They announced it before we got on the flight too, and this man next to me like lost his mind.
Oh no.
Yeah, he go, "Oh, I was planning to work," and I was like, "I was too, man." But guess what?
Remember the time? Remember Wi-Fi? There was a time that it just wasn't even a thing.
Well, and the things we get upset about now too, and I get it. I have been in that mode where I've been now at this job, especially like there. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'll do it on the plane. So it's a convenience. We get used to it though, and then the minute we're told we can't have it, it's like but
it's like we're in the air.
We're in the air. We're in the air,
and somehow, sometimes, or the majority of the time, we can get Wi-Fi. That is mind-boggling to me.
Yes, yeah. Well,
what cell tower are you hitting for this Wi-Fi? What is the science behind that?
Now you get
it
all
just seems
sciencey.
like
I don't know.
Sorry.
I don't know. I mean, I've gotten, I love my Delta and I've gotten used to it, but occasionally that Wi-Fi is not there. But the funny thing was, as I was watching these movies, they have this big long commercial in the beginning before a movie or a show, but the commercial says featuring fast, free Wi-Fi, and I was like, not this time, toots.
I mean, I feel like they should have a director's cut where they don't do that.
I mean,
people are like, no, you don't.
Yes, let's remove it for that day. I was
Delta.
like, what is happening? Well, I was gone for a week for work purposes.
Correct.
What were you eating while I was gone, darling? I'm curious what you were getting up to in the kitchen. How were you keeping on the cooking on?
I'm triggered.
Uh-oh.
I'm triggered because when you leave, my food world crumbles.
Oh.
No, it doesn't crumble. No, I'm very spoiled. As we know, I have a 3, soon to be 4-time cookbook author who is like making food constantly. I'm very taken care of. I'm very spoiled. It really is. I secreted that for sure. I was like, I love food. So this is really, I'm living my fantasy. But so when he goes, I'm just not like in my flow. But the first night I did make myself like a nice big salad. I air fried some tofu.
Yeah.
I chopped up a bunch of veggies.
Love
did the Hidden Valley plant-based ranch.
Okay. All right.
Which is so tasty. And then I may have gotten a mellow mushroom vegan pizza.
Oh, good for you. Good for you.
I love that their dough is like or whatever their normal pizza dough, if you don't put any shenanigans on the crust or anything, is just vegan.
I mean, now I want pizza.
I know.
I'm trying to get back. Actually, I did great while I was traveling this last week in terms of like being on track for me and what I like to eat for my body. But I did
also
go for pizza one night.
Oh, you did? Yeah. Well, that's right. You had the mushroom pizza.
Yeah.
That I would have.
You would have vetoed that right away.
Sorry.
A great place in Morgan Hill, California called Craft Roots. Everybody, all vegan. It was delicious.
Delish. And then we had some frozen stuff that I love.
All right.
Those Good and Gather cauliflower wings, I mean, they're delicious. Like whatever
they are tasty.
The combo texture of cauliflower and it's like rice.
I don't know what's
Some
in there.
kind
I
of
forgot. I
connection.
looked one time. It is pretty amazing though. It's these buffalo cauliflower bites from, but they're not. You're thinking like as I'm saying that out loud, everybody. You're probably thinking like a battered piece of cauliflower. It's like a cauliflower nugget. Like
Yeah, it's and
yeah.
they've shaped like some to look like the drumsticks and some to look like the wings. So
Yeah,
but anyway,
yeah.
that's been a treat.
It sounds like you thrive to
Yeah,
me.
could have been better.
Well, we'll see what happens. I was gonna say I'm home all week, but I'm not. I gotta travel again. It's all right. I'll leave you taking care. People ask me actually all the time when I travel and I talk about David. They say, "Well, does David cook?" And my answer to that is, and you can tell me now. Correct me if I'm wrong. I said, "Well, he used to," because it's not, he doesn't have a chance to. Like I take over the refrigerator with all the food. I take over the kitchen. So the answer is yes, he does, but I think he would
Not
love to
often.
cook more actually. And I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
I
mean,
bad.
some of the stuff you're doing like recipe testing, so it's like it's not like you're elbowing me out of the kitchen per se.
Sure,
but like
sure.
He's just so good about like looking in the fridge, looking in the pan or knowing what's in the pantry and just being like, oh, I can just make this in like 10 minutes. When I would be like, I need to do a little research. I found this recipe, but I need these 3 things. Do we have those? This needs a specialty like something. And then I'm like, I'm out.
It'd be like me trying to choreograph a group of people.
There we go.
I couldn't do that. So we all have
strengths
that we bring.
I've seen your moves.
It's going to take me a hot minute though, just like it would take you a hot minute to pull together a dish from the refrigerator.
Because I'm a dish.
You're a dish and I'm a snack. And speaking of hot dishes and snacks,
that's a segue.
We've got, if you're a longtime listener, you know, we've got a true friend on the pod today. It's the one and only Ashley Madden, and she's one of our dearest friends, but also one of the most talented people we know.
And just like effortlessly.
I mean, she would love to hear you say that. I know,
she would love to hear me.
She would love.
We know different, but like her persona.
Well, I mean, we know different because Ashley and I literally talk about everything, like the ins and outs of like, you know, navigating everything that we have since culinary school. But
and I mean, the fact that she's writing this book in another country.
Oh, it blows. When she was doing food photography for my last book, she couldn't find cauliflower, and she waited and hunted it down. She like hunted it down. That's the way you would say that, right?
I think you can say hunted down.
She hunted down. Anyways, we talk about it in the Emory. We go there.
Well, but wait, what about didn't she hand make tater tots because they didn't have tater tots?
She sure did. We talk about that as well. But we're not not talking about the work that she did on Epic Vegan Quick and Easy. Doom, doom, doom. She's here to talk about her brand new book, Plant-Based Delicious. And because of Ashley, I have certainly lived a healthier life and been able to do it without feeling intimidated by it.
Yes. She is a return guest of the podcast, and Ashley's here to chat about her new book. So her new book coming out June 13th. Oh my gosh, this summer. Plant-Based Delicious. Healthy, feel-good vegan recipes you'll make again and again. All recipes are gluten-free and oil-free.
That's right. Ashley Madden is a trained and passionate plant-based chef, pharmacist, certified holistic nutrition consultant, and food photographer. Her new book, Plant-Based Delicious, the book we are chatting about today, is the follow-up to her first cookbook, the celebrated best-selling The Plant-Based Cookbook.
A diagnosis of multiple sclerosis triggered an overhaul of her personal and professional life, and ultimately she traded her prescriptions for plants. She shares her flavorful and inventive plant-based, gluten-free, and oil-free culinary creations on her recipe blog, RiseShineCook.ca.
That's RiseShineCook.ca. Gorgeous photos, wonderful recipes, all the things you need to live a happier, healthier life. She is originally from Canada and has moved around the world from New York to the Netherlands and currently resides in Taipei with her husband, Bernard, and son, George, and beloved collection of cookbooks. It gives me great joy to welcome to the podcast one of my absolute most favorite people on the face of the planet, Ashley Madden. With stunning photography and a commitment to health-forward food that is also creative and downright delicious, it's the brain and talent behind the gorgeous and popular blog, Rise, Shine, Cook. Please welcome to the podcast, Ashley Madden. How you doing, my love?
I'm good. Thank you so much. What an intro. Wow. Thank you.
Yeah. All things gorgeous, all things beautiful at Rise, Shine, Cook. You know it. And we've got your icebreaker to start with. What is your favorite concert? You know, I had to ask this.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
is your favorite concert you've ever been to and why? And also, do you need to do a top 3 or can you do one?
I can definitely do one. I
Oh
was
my,
like, I know the one.
what is it?
The first time I saw Beyonce, Beyonce is like
The love.
everything, right?
The love. Yes.
I saw, well, for two reasons why it's the number one. It was the first time I saw her in 2013 in
Okay.
Montreal with my friend Shayna. It was just the two of us, and we both love her, so it was amazing. But Beyonce's hair got caught in the fan in
Ooh,
that concert.
I've seen the clip.
Yes. And she like just kept doing her thing, and her hair is like caught in the fan, and we're all like seeing this, and she didn't skip a beat.
Did they cut it
I
out or what they
I
do?
think they cut her hair out, or I don't know, they turn the fan off. I have no idea. But she like it's almost like I don't even think there was like a facial reaction.
Yeah.
I think she was just like doing her thing, like and like nothing. And so that was very memorable, but it was just amazing. And I say that because I've seen her another time. I saw her in the Netherlands when I lived there, and I'm going to see her again in August in San Francisco. And I'm sure then that will be my next new one. Yeah.
What 2013, what tour was that?
Was that Beyonce? Like, I think that was the Beyonce album. Remember, she has like one that's like self-titled, isn't it?
I think you're correct. Yeah, right before we met. That would have been with like Flawless and everything on it.
I think so. Don't you remember singing that stuff like in the kitchen when we were like doing
I
stuff?
remember you singing it, and I remember me being like, I don't love this album. And then you were obsessed with it. And then I was like, okay, I'll give it one more shot. And then I became obsessed with it after that. Didn't
Yeah,
we
I
have like a
think so.
watch party where we watched all the videos too?
We did. Mm-hmm.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
I love this. It's and also for everyone listening, Ashley's in Taipei. So when she says she's going to San Francisco for a Beyonce concert, the love is real. The love is
And
real.
I'm bringing, well, it's my husband gave me this gift for
Yes.
my birthday, but we're also bringing our 1-year-old with us to California. So that
It's
time
going to be
difference, it's like 15
everything.
hours. It's going to be a lot, but it's going to be so worth it.
Oh
Can't
my
wait.
gosh, I love it so much. Mine, I had a really hard time, and I did 3, but I should really go with 1, and it's very hard for me to do. I mean, if I go with my favorite in a nostalgic aspect, it's obviously Reba McEntire in concert in 1992, Saginaw Arena Civic Center.
Wow.
When I first was like introduced to the magic of live concerts and production value. However, if we look at the scope of my life, I am
Yeah,
going to say, wait, do you have a guess?
I have a guess.
I want to know what your guess is.
I know, but I don't want to be wrong because then you have to say like no. Okay, you say, and
I'm
then I'll tell
curious.
you if that was my guess.
Okay, that works.
Okay, yeah.
The very hard to pick one, but it still was such a memorable night to me, and I had terrible seats even. So I'm just like, when someone does it right, they do it. But now I'm having other ones pop in my head. But when someone does it right, they do it right. The Taylor Swift tour, the 1989 tour, like just
One of my favorite albums of all time.
it just gave me all the feels. Now, I'll tell you, I haven't gone to see her in concert since. I loved the 1989 tour, but I haven't gone because the whole ticket thing is just too much for me to even be like, oh, I'm going to get involved in that.
I know.
Plus, when I saw her that one time, I think I paid $200 per ticket to sit way, way up high. And now would be even more than that. And I remember being like, I'm not thrilled that I'm sitting up here, but also this concert is blowing my mind. She just gives you an experience, you know?
I would want to see Taylor. And honestly, of all of the albums, like I wish I could go back in time. I would want to see that tour.
My gosh, but now though, see, there was a time I saw Beyonce at the Roseland Ballroom in New York, which has to hold maybe 500 people. I don't know. And she was doing that album. Have I not told you about this? There's a DVD of it out. If anyone watches DVDs anywhere, you can probably find it all online.
I will watch that DVD.
It's like Beyonce Live at Roseland or something is what it's called. But she goes through her whole history for the first part of the show, Destiny's Child to solo career, through some of the solo career into the album that was out at the time. You'll know the name of it. It's got Love on Top on it. What is the name of that album? 4?
Yes. Yep.
So then she goes through that. Is that the name of it?
Is that 4? Is that no, it's not Sasha Fierce. That's
But then she goes through that album start to finish. in the whole show.
I hate you, actually.
It's out of control. And
that was my favorite concert. I hate you for not having that as your favorite concert.
VIP seats at the time, and I was like on a little raised floor, so I could like see over everyone.
How did you get these?
I was dating a certain someone at the time, who loved concerts. This ex of mine, everyone loved concerts. I know, right? Loved concerts and always like threw down all the money on concerts. Anyway, okay. Ashley and I could talk about concerts forever.
Okay.
Including the one we went to share together once, and this was when I was still drinking. I might have cried during the concert, and she had to hold me a little. Things that happen when you used to drink at concerts.
That did happen.
Mm-hmm. That did happen. It's actually one of the moments when I was like, I need to stop drinking. This is ridiculous.
I think you said that to me like the next day.
Yeah.
That was a big night.
This is out of control. I was like, yeah. I'm crying and she's just singing Walking in Memphis. Like, I need to get it together. Anyway, listeners, you all may remember Ashley from episode 15 of Keep On Cooking when she was on to chat about her first book, The Plant-Based Cookbook. Gluten-free, oil-free recipes for lifelong health. You can go back and listen to that episode and learn more about Ashley's history in the culinary landscape, and I encourage you to do so, everyone. That book has done so well. It's been phenomenal to watch people latch onto it and really just embrace oil-free, gluten-free cooking. And like, I see people's posts online when they're sharing them with you, and you reshare them, and people love that book. And if you go to Amazon, there's over 700 reviews for it. Everyone listening, that's no small feat. Like, it really is a fantastic book. How do you feel about the response for that first book?
Oh my God, I say this all the time. It's been like the best experience because, as you know, because you were such a huge part of helping me get this book published, it was like a really big uphill battle to pitch the book, to get people to understand it. At this time, like, oil-free cooking wasn't really in mainstream. It is now. A lot of chefs do it, and it's amazing. So I remember talking with the publishers and asking them to put oil-free on the cover, and they didn't want to, and then we eventually did. But just, it's really rewarding, I guess, to just see that it was received well and people wanted it, because that's how I felt. I was like, I wanted this book. So I think people want this book. And so it's just really rewarding. And then also just amazing to connect with people and discover their journeys to that point. Not everybody gets diagnosed with a disease and then it's a million different things. It's someone whose cousin had heart disease, or it's someone who learned that they didn't have to use oil because it's bad for the environment. So now they want to learn how to cook without oil. It's just so many different things. So it's really nice to connect with people.
And oil-free seems like such a polarizing topic, and I just feel like it doesn't have to be. It's just like veganism is and used to be, where people are like, oh, well, you can't take that away from me. And it's like, just take it one step at a time then. Like, if you're curious at all, just try a stir fry without oil and see how it goes for you. Like, you
nailed it.
It's that all or nothing approach that we all are guilty of, that we all get into for different things in our life. But like, I have been introduced to oil-free cooking by you, and I've come to understand it in a way in the work I do with PCRM now. In a way, I understand it. I do it all the time. I love it. And your book is like a Bible to me. That first book, there are post-its all throughout it. I turn to different things all the time just to learn things. I'll be making either a whole recipe from it, or I'm turning to it to just be like, oh, wait, I'm making something similar. What did she do in this recipe to avoid the oil? So all different reasons I turned to that book, and people just have really embraced it. And it's cool to see, because that's why I mentioned the polarizing part of it, right? To see people sort of moving past that and using it as a resource to just further their path with oil-free cooking. It really is cool to see.
That's excellent. Oh my God. Also, like, what a compliment coming from you. So thank you so much.
That's you taught me so much in the oil-free landscape. It's not even funny. And I'm so grateful for it too, because my health has improved because of it. I feel better because of it, so there's so many benefits. I mean, while we have you here, share for you the benefits of oil-free cooking with everyone.
So there's several reasons to consider oil-free cooking. The first one is obviously, to reduce fat and calories in your food. 1 tablespoon of like olive oil has like 120 calories and like 14 grams of fat. 14 grams of fat. There's like, I think there might be less than that in like a quarter cup of like cashews, and cashews are seen as like the fattening demon plant-based food, which they're not. They're amazing. So there's that reason. So if you're trying to improve your diet, get, more nutrient density, and less empty calories. You remove the oil. The second one is for its inflammatory impact. So vegetable oils are generally of very poor quality, and they usually have high omega-6 fats, which are pro-inflammatory. Omega-3 fats, on the other hand, are anti-inflammatory, and those are in things like flax seeds, walnuts, dark leafy greens. So if you have an inflammatory condition like I do, MS, or if you're just trying to get a healthier diet, because we know now that inflammation over time, or inflammatory foods that we consume over time, can lead to poor health outcomes. And all kinds of health issues now are being traced back to inflammation: heart disease, autoimmune disease, diabetes. So by removing oil, you're automatically removing probably the biggest source of omega-6 fats in your diet. Yeah. And then the other thing is that when we cook with high heat, which is what we always do when we cook with oils, is that we're actually damaging any of the good fats that are in the oil. So, and then they're becoming trans fats, and then they're actually causing more inflammation.
Yep.
So those are like the two main reasons for decreasing inflammation, for just getting, the just fat out of your diet. We talk about sugar as being white sugar is just sugar. Most oils are just fat.
Yep.
And they don't come with any auxiliary nutrients or anything like that. So those are the two main things. And I want to just put on the end of that is that what I've been talking a lot about lately, and a different way of framing it, is that like oil-free cooking is just a skill.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to use it all the time. It's just a skill. Like, learn how to use it. This is a skill that you have now, and you can whip it out whenever you want to. If you're making something and you're like, no, I want oil in that. Okay, cool. But for us, we're always testing recipes and stuff. I can't think of any soup that needs to start with oil in the sauteing the veg.
Soup is one of the biggest ones. It's like, it does not need to have the oil.
It does not need to have the oil. So I just love to teach it as a skill. And so that's where oil-free sits with me now. We don't cook with oil in my house at all. And we haven't for like over, I don't know, maybe 13 years.
Yeah.
But I just think I love teaching it because people are like, oh, that's so easy. Oh, and also cheap. Think about all the money you're saving and not buying all the oil. So
yeah, olive oil is so expensive. So interesting you say that too, about it being just a skill or a technique, essentially, because I'm doing some events coming up over the summer where I'm teaching some classes, and now I find I've brought in there's a few with oil. I'm doing like 3 different classes in a series. Some of the recipes have oil and some of them do not. And I'm not advertising it as an oil-free class, but I'm going into it, I'm basically saying, hey, if you're curious, we're going to do some like this and we're going to do some like this, so that there's actually an opportunity to work with that in the class. So I'm excited to do it. And also, when we talk about this and approaching it in the all or nothing, I went out to eat yesterday to a new vegan place that opened nearby. I don't cook with much oil in my home. I had something with oil when I went out to eat. Yeah. I'm just saying this for everyone listening. Like, again, not all or nothing. If you're making the efforts at home to cook and not use oil, and then you're out and you kind of can't avoid it, if you want to get something on the menu, get the thing that's on the menu and enjoy it, right? But like, you are making
and there's
efforts
things you
in your
can
own
do.
life. Yes.
Exactly. I get this question all the time. I eat out. I go out. I love my husband and I love going out for dinner and wine. And like a nice night out. And I'll say, I generally don't order things that are deep fried. That's pretty much off limits for me. Right. But if I'm like, okay, hey, in that pasta, can you use as little oil as possible? And sometimes they look at me like I'm insane, and I'm like, okay, that's going to come out during stir oil.
Sure.
And sometimes you're like, yeah, no problem. And that's the space though. If I don't do it at all at home, when I go out, I'm not going to be like, okay, I can't eat anything here. There's always something you can eat. Yeah. For sure.
Then you've made that effort too with the server, where you've said, hey, so you've at least put it out there and you see what happens, and you're sort of, flexible to, or whatever, you're out, you're out to eat, essentially, right?
Yeah. I mean, I used to be a bit more prepared. I used to bring like plant-based burgers like in my purse. I'm not even exaggerating.
I love this so much.
I think you witnessed this perhaps. I used to have like food with me in my bag all the time. I would eat before. I would do the craziest things, which eating before isn't a bad idea, but I would eat like a full meal just in case. But depending on the place, sometimes I'll still call ahead. But if I look at and I'll look at the menu online always, because sometimes you look at a place, you're like, there's nothing there for me. Like every meal is a version of steak.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm with you. I love that approach. And I think that that's like the healthiest, happiest way to approach it.
And we all love a happy, healthy way. So everyone get into it. Try oil
Yeah.
free. We've got a great way for you to do it. We're going to dive into your current body of work here, the glorious and stunning new book, Plant-Based Delicious. Y'all, this book is available for pre-order now. It officially comes out June 13th. Ashley, you have some pre-order incentives for people. We'll say them now and we'll say them at the end, but what can people get if they pre-order the book?
Yes. So, as you know, as a cookbook writer, you have like so much space to write your book, and at the end, things get pulled out. So, we pulled out some recipes because they couldn't fit, and I put them into a bonus cookbook. And if you pre-order the recipe, or if you pre-order Plant-Based Delicious, you get the bonus e-cookbook as well. And I always say this because I feel like if I didn't work in this industry, I would assume that the recipes were just like not as good recipes, but the recipes in the e-cookbook are some of my absolute favorites. Like I have a chocolate mousse pie made from sweet potatoes that I have been making for over a decade. There is a topless pot pie skillet recipe that's like a short recipe that's creamy and full of rosemary. Anyways, it's just good. So it's really good. And I think that people will really enjoy it. And I've heard really great things back from the people who have pre-ordered. So you get that up until June 13th.
And they go to riseshinecook.ca and they're able to submit
They submit their proof of purchase. Yeah, it can be like a screenshot or like a copy of the receipt or something like that.
And they get it right away, so they can start cooking in it right away. Oh, so look at that.
12 to 24 hours, yes.
Okay.
But you get it within
a day. You get it before June 3rd. You get the book before June 13th. So get into it, everybody. Well, this is your second book, and I'm so excited for it. Listen, everyone, you know, if you've been listening, Ashley and I met in culinary school and have been culinary besties ever since, from arguments over dicing red peppers to soothing each other when publishers are giving us the runaround and we show up for each other. Chef's knives in hand. Ashley's even responsible for the drool-worthy photos in both of my last two cookbooks, Epic Vegan and Epic Vegan Quick and Easy. And now she gives you this brilliant follow-up to her first book, Plant-Based Delicious. Ashley, please give the listeners a summary of Plant-Based Delicious.
Plant-Based Delicious is all about making healthy food taste delicious. It sounds so simple, but it's so true.
Yeah.
I wrote the book during the pandemic, when I was pregnant. And it became a part of who I am. And I was just full of creativity and cravings. That's what I like to say. I was hungry all the time and I wanted really, really, really delicious food. And so I just started making everything that I wanted. And a theme kind of came through, and it was just comfort foods, but not in really the traditional sense. Foods with really bold flavors, foods with a lot of texture, foods with different elements. And I really wanted to kind of elevate plant-based recipes.
Yeah.
I love, like, there's so many amazing plant-based cookbooks out there, but I really wanted to bring it to the next level for myself in terms of flavor, in terms of how the dishes are presented, and also in terms of the photography. I really just wanted to give something that was gorgeous and delicious and that offered new ideas about what you can do with whole foods.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that. What'd you say? Creative and craving. What is it?
Yeah, I was full of cravings and creativity.
Well, and I'm like, that's a title for a book right there. I love it so much.
Oh my God, we should like trademark that right now.
Yes, this book is so creative. I mean, it's comforting dishes packed with fresh flavors, good for you ingredients. It's just an incredible book. Again, every recipe features delicious flavor combinations that will really intrigue people and impress their taste buds, while also being nourishing for the body. It's brilliant. So let's dive in. Our first chapter is, but first, breakfast and brunch. Great recipes in here like blueberry teff pancakes with lemon, avocado toast, simple scramble, and maple carrot bacon, baked buckwheat bread with homemade sunflower seed butter, and vegetable quiche with buckwheat crust. What's a must in your home for breakfast from this chapter? Something that you've put on the table again and again for the family.
Two things. The first is the teff blueberry pancakes. So, you know, I am a pancake lover. I have made many different kinds of pancakes. And when my son started eating, he's like 19 months old now, but when he started eating foods, and we have a plant-based baby, so we're plant-based, he's plant-based. There's certain nutrients that you have to be a bit not more concerned about, but you have to be vigilant about. You have to be aware, And teff is like the tiniest grain on the planet, and it is full of iron. And teff flour is so nutritious. It is just blocked with nutrition. And I was like, I would like George is my 1-year-old, to eat these. So I was like, how is he going to eat these? Loved pancakes. And I was like, I'm gonna make a pancake out of this. And then it was just this moment where like I did it once, and then I went to make pancakes one weekend, and I didn't have like the buckwheat flours and the brown rice flours, and I was like, oh, I still have the teff, and I was like, they were great. And so then I like reworked the recipe, and I was like, this is a good recipe. I need to share this. And so now we do teff pancakes like once a week. We do teff pancakes, and he gobbles them up, and so do we.
I love that.
So sorry, there's that one, and then the other one I would have to say is there is a oh my God, what is it? A hollandaise. There is a tofu hollandaise recipe. I don't even know the name. I forget the name.
Did I test it's tofu Benedict bowls with corn hollandaise and spinach. Did I test a hollandaise from you for this? I feel like I did. And it was delicious.
In another chapter, there's the risotto with the hollandaise. And so I make that regularly as well, but mostly for dinner. It's weird. It's in the breakfast chapter, but we make it for dinner. The hollandaise sauce is made out of corn, frozen corn. It's super easy. So yeah, those two happen regularly.
I also love breakfast for dinner. And also teff, that you brought it up. I think I've played around with teff one time, and it was to make a teff meatloaf from a book, and it turned out terrible. So I'm glad you brought it back up. Yes. Yeah.
It's like the grains are like grains of sand, and
they expand though, right? When they're like, or am I crazy?
What are they?
Do they expand when they get moist?
They do, but they're a little bit like hard to work with on their own. So for example, I usually mix them with quinoa when I'm cooking them or something like that. But yeah, it can be a mess. It can also be disastrous.
It was a meatloaf, and I just remember it didn't set, and I was really annoyed because I was like, when you make a vegan meatloaf, so much work. Well, but you're also just kind of like, I want meatloaf. Like I want it. Oh, you have like a chickpea meatloaf that I love, that I'm obsessed with on your on riseshinecooks.ca.
You know what? I made that one, and I was like, this is it. This one works. I like this one. I'm never making a meatloaf ever again.
Perfect. I've made that 2 different times, and oh, it's so good. But anyway, we're talking about plant-based delicious. So the next chapter is Ashley's favorites: roasted roots, greens, and sunflower miso cream, sticky teriyaki cauliflower bowls with edamame. Come on, get into it. Slow cooked black beans with almond, cilantro, pesto, corn chips, brown rice poutine with miso gravy, and creamy cauliflower curry with cherry tomatoes and chickpeas. Ashley, I want every single one of these. That sticky teriyaki cauliflower bowl, hello, yum. But it's called Ashley's favorite. So if you had to pick a favorite, what's the favorite?
Okay, I'm gonna go with the slow cooked black beans and almond cilantro pesto, I think is the name of it. God, I have to remind myself.
Almond cilantro pesto and corn chips, yeah.
And corn chips. Okay, so I actually make this recipe regularly. I know when you're promoting your cookbook, there's definitely pressure to like pump up the recipes, but like this particular recipe, all you do is you put like a bunch of dried black beans in a pot with like onion and garlic, and you cook them for a long time, and that's like it. And they're so good. And then while that's happening in the food processor, you just blitz some almond, cilantro, and like garlic, and then like I serve it differently. Like we serve it with like homemade corn chips. I put it in a wrap, like the beans and the cilantro together. I've served it on top of brown rice to make like a kind of a Buddha bowl situation. And again, George loves the beans, so we make.
I love it. Oh, that's great. Oh, it sounds so good. All of these sound delicious. This is what I'm always amazed by too. When we look at oil-free, gluten-free cooking, and then we open up one of your books, I always feel like I see things that are familiar to me, but also very creative and inventive. Like I get excited about it. Like I can tell, we've talked about this before. You have a foodie side to you. I don't, right? I'm like pizza, mac and cheese, yum. So when I see your food, I get I mean, I think
Yeah,
I've grown over the years, but when I
you
see your
have.
food, I do get really excited. Like I'm like, maybe I am a foodie because this stuff is exciting me in a way that I didn't know was
Yeah.
possible. And I also am just like, I can't believe this is possible with no gluten and no oil.
And right, it's amazing. Like I greet everybody that's in my newsletter, like which is kind of like a life letter as well. I greet them with like, "Hey, health foodies," because
Yeah.
most of us are people who are like really excited about making something from whole foods that
Yep.
tastes really good. And like there's cookies in the book that are made with beans, and I like called my husband when they worked out. I was like, Bernard, these cookies worked out.
Yeah.
They're made with beans. And like he's like, that's great. I'm like, damn, that wasn't the response I wanted. Like I get so into it. And so for me, that's part of the fun though. You know, I would write a cookbook every year for like as long until my ideas ran out because the
Yeah.
creative part is what like I really, really love.
I just want us to live near each other so we can feed each other all the
I
things and give each other
know. We need
feedback.
to
I want us
move
to have
like
a little studio where we take
I know.
photos and make food all day, basically.
I need
Who
to move a
knows?
few continents closer.
Yeah, I know. Maybe one day. You never know. You never
You never
know.
know.
Here we are all these years later, still together. Okay, next chapter is pasta, please. Perfect pots of pasta and
Mm,
noodles. So if you want to impress a guest with a pasta dish, for vegan food in general, pasta and baked goods are great ways to
yeah,
feed carnivores.
you
So,
got it.
something from this chapter, perhaps, that you feel would serve best at a table full of carnivores, maybe.
I also have to just like put this out there. I am from the east coast of Canada where we say pasta.
I love it.
Do you remember that day in culinary school?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
We're
I just
talking
remember all the. Wait, so what are you
everybody.
talking about? Tell me.
Oh, okay. The day that the
Was
chef
there a
is like,
conversation
"Oh,
over you saying pasta?
yes." The chef is like, "Okay, today we're doing pasta," and like, let's just say he said that. Today we're doing pasta, and I was like, "What kind of pasta are we cooking?" And the whole room lost their shit. And I was like, "What is going on?" Everybody was like, "Pasta, pasta, pasta." And you know
Ah!
what? And then like I actually because this is like my I don't know fourth podcast interview or something, and we've probably talked about pasta in every single one. And before I was like, God, I should probably say pasta. And I was like, you know what? Screw
No.
that. I say pasta. We're
Yeah.
going with pasta.
And I
So
love
for
it.
all you people out there who say pasta, I'm representing for you
Nice.
pasta.
That's
Yeah.
great. Drina
So I just
Burton
had to put
was
that
on
out
a
there.
week ago. I'm sure the two of you say pasta the
Yes.
same, the exact
Right?
same. I
Yes. She's
love
from Nova
that.
Scotia. I'm from Newfoundland. Yes.
Exactly. When you said you remember that day, I was thinking, Ashley, I've been talking about how you pronounce things all the time. So it's not one day that I can hone in on. Because I love it though. I embrace it. I love
Oh, that's
hearing the
great.
way different people talk.
Yeah.
I'm from Michigan and people will say to me, "Oh yeah, you have an accent." And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Okay,
actually
sorry.
our
Back to the question.
accents are kind of similar, probably, I would imagine, because I think when people think of a Michigan accident accent, they think of like northern Michigan, which is like UP, like this.
Yeah.
And wouldn't that be kind of, is Newfoundland like that at all?
No, I would say that's Canada. Like
Got you.
Newfoundland is different. We're a bit more Irish, you
Ah,
know.
Irish. Okay.
Yeah. We have a bit more of an Irish accent. It's a bit it's not like mainland Canada.
Got you. There was
Yeah.
I did that with Irish because when David and I were in Ireland, we went on this tour to go to the Cliffs of Moher, and the guide kept going, "We're going to the Cliffs of Moher." So now David and I was like, "Oh, Ireland." Anyway, pasta, please. Perfect pots of pasta and
Okay,
noodles.
yeah, yeah.
What is a pasta that
Okay.
you could serve basically anybody that'd be so satisfied from this chapter?
So yeah, this isn't like a projection. So when I was testing the book, the recipes, I had 6 people over for dinner. Bernard and I were the only vegans.
Okay.
And I made the lasagna, which is a mixed mushroom and
Great.
sun-dried tomato lasagna with white bean ricotta.
Nice.
So yeah, so something that I discovered myself through making this book, and I think people are going to take away as something they can do themselves too, was like making sauces or like creamy layers out of beans and baking them.
Yeah.
they kind of firm up and like create this texture that's almost like, what is this? Like
Yep.
this is what is this? So the ricotta is made from beans, and it's when it's baked in the oven, it's just amazing. And then you have all the flavor from sun-dried tomatoes, you have dried herbs, you have kale, you have a marinara sauce. It's just like really good. And the my guest asked if they could take, there was one piece left, and my guest asked if she could take it home. So I was like, okay,
Boom.
winner, 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 winner,
That's
chickpea
great.
dinner. Yeah,
Do you use oven ready gluten-free noodles?
I
Or,
do, yes, but
I
they're
love the
very hard
oven
to
ready noodles.
oven ready is everything. It's if you're
Yeah.
looking to simplify
Yes.
home cooking, oven ready is where it's at. And
It's
like
so good.
it's when you're doing veg forward meals, which is this whole book, like the
Yeah.
chopping is part of it. The
Yep.
chopping is
Yep.
part of the experience, but there are other things you can do to speed things up. And yes, oven ready lasagna noodles all the way.
I love that. And when we're talking about white bean ricotta, that's a piece of magic, right? Those are those things when you become vegan and you start getting invested in cooking, you start learning all these things. Oh my gosh, I can make chickpea cookie dough.
Yeah,
But then like it all just continues to unfold over time. And then if you're a chef in the arena, you start to explore on your own, write cookbooks, all those things. And then you're constantly thinking like, well, what can I use? Like, what can I use? Like you're trying to almost blow your own mind in a sense. You're like, what can I do? I did that with Universal Meals with PCRM, which is the allergen friendly program. Like I was like, well, if I can't do cashews and I can't do tofu, what
what
can
can
I
I do?
use? Right. And it became really exciting. The problem with that program is we're trying to get it into institutions and they're just already like, you're taking my meat away. Can we just hold on? Like you can't take
Yeah,
everything away. So
yeah,
it's all a
yeah. It's like
process.
all at
But
once.
all that to say, it is a white bean ricotta to me sounds like everything I ever wanted at this point, you know?
It's
So I love that for this lasagna. And we've got spaghetti. Oh, the spaghetti and meatballs. You know how I feel
that's the
about
cover.
these. I
Yeah,
just
that's the
saw it on the
cover. Spaghetti
list.
and meatballs. Yeah, that's
Yeah, this is the
also
cover.
amazing.
Yeah, and it is, I mean, I love these meatballs
I
so
made that
much.
recipe in what,
It's
2015?
been a minute,
Mm-hmm.
girl. It's been a minute.
Mm-hmm. I've
And
been
now
holding
here
on
they
to that one
are,
for like years. They've
featured
made it to,
prominently on the cover, getting the
yeah.
respect they deserve. I love that. So spaghetti and meatballs, saucy vermicelli with vegetables and fresh herbs, eggplant puttanesca with walnuts or herbs, I think you might say, right? Herbs.
Herbs. Yeah.
Yep, yep.
Herbs.
Okay, just checking. Just checking.
Herbs.
See,
Herbs.
we're
Mm-hmm.
yep. Mac and cauli cream, one pot Tuscan pasta, pad thai inspired noodles with tempeh and broccoli and alfredo and roasted sprouts. Next chapter is forget the fork, handheld mains. All right. So we've got some real tasty looking items in here. I know for me, I think I've made these walnut and black bean burgers. Is that with the special sauce? I know that's what I made because I've made them
You
twice.
did. You
David and
made
I
it.
are
Yeah.
obsessed with these, with the texture with these, the hardiness of these, the
I
special
just
sauce
made
from
those
these.
yesterday. I just made those yesterday.
They're so good. They're so
Mm-hmm.
good. The special sauce, if I'm correct, that's almost like a Big Mac sauce, if my memory serves
It
correctly.
is. And I wasn't sure what to call it. I was like, this is a Big Mac sauce, but I didn't want to call it a Mac sauce. So I went with special sauce, which I
I
think
love
is
it.
like similar. But yes, that sauce. That's good.
Love these burgers. And it's interesting because these days with burgers, I'm never really looking for a burger recipe. And when you sent these for me to test, I'm kind of like, well, I want these over all burgers now because like I feel
Oh
good
my
about myself
God.
when I
Thank
eat them. You
you.
know what I mean? I'm like, oh my gosh, I can have a burger that's hearty and delicious. It doesn't like plop out at the
Yeah, the
sides.
texture. But do you remember though? I sent you like the
You went
last
through
test
it
you
with
did for
these.
me. It was like the end. How many times did I test these
You
burgers?
did
What,
it a
like,
lot. I tested it twice. You came back to me and you were like, I'm
bless
struggling on
you.
one thing. And I was like, I will happily make them again. I will totally make them
Bless you.
again.
I really wanted them to be like firm and like,
Yeah.
when you bite into a vegan burger or like a
Oh,
bean burger and it like squishes out the sides and people are like, this is good. I'm like, God damn it. Why didn't they work harder on the
yeah,
texture?
you're like, that's terrible, actually.
Yeah.
I can't.
I'm like,
That was
no.
my biggest problem with vegan burgers for the longest time is you'd get this burger, you'd be all excited. And then first of all, the flavor was usually lacking. And then
Yeah.
secondly, it would like spit out the sides of the bun. And then you'd be left with everything on the plate and an empty bun. And I
I
was like,
know.
I'm not enjoying this at all. This is not an experience I wanted.
That was the inspiration. And then they're also like half walnuts. So they're like super
Mm,
high in omega-3 fats. So I love that
so
about them
good.
as well.
What's another
Mhm.
handheld that you love from here?
What is another handheld that I love from there?
Oh,
I would have
Sorry,
Go.
I'm going to cut you off because I also made these spicy sheet pan cauliflower
I was
tacos.
gonna say the tacos, we make those regularly. They're like a
Tell us
hybrid.
about them.
It's like it's like a hybrid between like a bean taco and like a cauliflower wing, but they're done in the oven and everything's on a sheet pan in one step.
And it's
It's
delicious.
easy and it's really good. And it's got like there's hot sauce involved, but it's just like a quarter cup for the whole recipe because sometimes I find that the sodium from the hot sauce is like
Sure.
we're big cauliflower wing fans, and we do it,
Yeah,
and we do it with all the hot sauce. But like, there's a lot of sodium in hot sauce,
sure.
so it's a bit reduced there. But I kind of make up for it in flavors by using the spices almost as like a batter. So yeah, I would say that one. But then also, you and I were both like cashew with sour cream, like avocados,
Yeah,
guacamole, like
yeah,
pickled onions. We love all the stuff. So I just love all the stuff in a taco, anyways. I would eat a
yeah.
taco any night of the week ever. I love the messiness. I love making it myself. I love all the toppings. I love a taco.
I've forgotten about, like, I forget about tacos sometimes. And then I open my fridge and I see corn tortillas and I'm like, oh, I want tacos. And it's like,
Yeah,
you can just use everything you have in the fridge. In this case, toss everything on a sheet pan with a very easy spice blend with like spices that are easily accessible to everyone. The hot sauce, you bake it all, and then you've got a taco. You've got a list of toppings in here. But when I made them, I remember I told you, I was like, well, I
yeah.
had some of it and I had a couple other things. So like I tossed whatever. That's a cool thing about a taco. You can like toss what
Anything,
you want on it, you know.
whatever you like, whatever you
We're
like.
actually going to make these. We should tell people you can join us. Is it May 24th? May
It
24th.
is.
Yes.
I always have
Corey,
to
I'm
check my.
asking you, you're in a different
I
day
have to
time
check.
zone
I'm like, is that
altogether.
your morning, my night? Like I'm like, wait, I don't know how many
So
times
let
have I
me tell
screwed stuff up.
everyone, we're making this on the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. We're going to make this on an Instagram Live together, these spicy sheet pan cauliflower tacos on May 24th at 6 p.m. So please join us. We'd love to share that with you. And of course, I'll remind you, you can follow my socials, her socials. We'll talk about that at the end. We've also got thin crust pizza with roasted butternut squash and arugula on here.
Oh, I forgot about the
Ugh,
pizza.
come
Okay, Dustin, I
on.
have to say,
Please tell me more.
I'm not shooting my own horn here. Have you made this pizza crust yet?
I
No.
have not. No. What's in it?
Okay. It is the easiest thing ever. It's almond flour and brown rice flour, like and apple cider vinegar and a bit of water. And you just like put it together in a ball and then you roll it out. And it's like, it is the best gluten-free pizza crust I've ever had.
I'm
Ugh,
gonna
I
make
hate
it
saying that.
today.
And it doubles in the book. So here it's the pizza crust
Yeah.
bottom, like of the pizza, but in a later chapter, it's like you make it the same way and just like flip it on
Yeah.
top of a pot pie, and it's the pot pie crust.
Oh, I did
It's
see that Popeye.
it's excellent. It's excellent. That and on that pizza we're using white bean hummus, like a really garlicky one. It's great. Oh, that's great. I love that one. Do you know what my issue is with that one and why I don't make it so often?
Because you
Bernard
want to eat
eats.
it all.
Well, Bernard and I split it, and we're
You
both
want
like,
more?
it's, I want all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you gotta
we're
make
both
two at once.
gluttons. My husband and I are like, we
Oh my
eat
God.
a lot. I know you and
Same.
David are the same.
Yeah.
Like, food's my
Same.
entertainment. I
Yep.
love food. I love food
Yeah,
so
and
much.
when you come up with something like this and it's inventive and you surprise yourself with it, and then it's also easy to make, you're
Yeah.
kind of like, oh well, I'm gonna make it again. I'm gonna try it with different toppings this time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for
You just
sure.
gotta double your recipe and make two pizzas. Done and done.
Yeah, I know. It's Bernard and I just don't share things anymore. Or like we do, but like it's split and then
Yep.
on separate plates because if
Yep.
we share while the eating is happening, I'm like, you're eating more than me. You're eating
Ah,
faster than me.
I'm
So we just
exactly
don't we
the
don't
same.
we don't split anything on like we don't share a plate at all anymore. I'm like, I cut it in half. I'm like, here's your half, here's my
Yep.
half. He's like, yeah, but I'm bigger
Same.
than you. I'm like, doesn't matter. I
Doesn't
want it.
matter. Does not matter.
Order,
How
yeah.
do you split your tacos? We were at a place yesterday. We had tacos. I find I eat half the taco and then I give the rest because I feel like
Oh,
cutting a taco is too hard. You cut it?
do you just order one taco?
No, we the, we we ordered two tacos.
I'm like, what is happening here?
The shock, the horror in your reaction. There's one taco.
Who
Oh my
orders one
gosh.
taco?
We ordered two,
Ah,
and we ordered a whole other entree as well. So it wasn't
okay.
one taco. We ordered two different kinds of tacos to split. So I would eat half the taco and then give him the rest. Do you guys cut a taco in
I
half?
can't comment. I've never shared a taco with Bernard. I'm just like, this is my taco. If you want a taco, you order a taco. Like I will never think, do you want to split this? That is a sentence. I swear, like on my life, I have never said, do you want to share this
Oh my
to
gosh.
anybody for anything? And my answer is always no. I'll put no one here that like is going to listen to this because nobody here is like, I'm not like in a culinary world here and they're all expats, but like I go out to dinner very often with people that like I don't really know that well. You know, we're
Yeah.
trying to make friends. And it's so awkward because a lot of Europeans love to share things. A lot of North Americans do too. A lot of people, let's just say people.
Oh,
And they're like,
man.
"Oh, should we all get something and share
No.
it?" And like my eyes are popping out of my head and I'm like,
Oh,
no, for two reasons. I hate sharing what I like, but number two, I always order a vegan option and everybody loves it.
yep.
So they're eating some of
Yep.
mine and I
Yep.
can't eat any of theirs.
Drives
And I
me
want to
crazy.
put walls around my dinner. And I'm like, no.
Also, like, I kind of like having like a thing, right? Like, I want to have one meal and like really enjoy it and enjoy the bites of that one thing and the different like variants of the dish. For the most part, I don't want to have like a grab bag of stuff from the menu usually. There's a thing here, like when I used to go to like Expo West and all that, you know, you'd meet up with like 6 other vegans who are bloggers or influencers or whatever.
Yeah.
We go out all to a restaurant. I hate it. I can't stand it
Oh,
because
yeah.
we all order
It's
everything
brutal.
and we share it. And I'm just like, I don't like this. This is not enjoyable to me.
I also find it stressful.
It's so stressful. It's so stressful.
I'm like, you're eating too much. Like that's
Yeah.
fine. I am a very selfish dinner partner, people. Nobody bring me out for dinner ever.
I feel the same. And actually, now as you're saying this, I'm realizing you and I've been out to dinner or lunch several times together, and we've never shared anything. So
Wait,
we're coming
no,
from the same place.
wait, lies. We went to ABC Kitchen
Oh,
in
well,
2018,
your husband was there. We were being nice.
Yes, and we all shared the whole.
The cauliflower.
Look, I remember it. I remember the time I shared something. This tells you something. The one time I shared, we all shared the whole roasted cauliflower, and it was bleeping delicious.
It was delicious. It was
best
delicious.
whole roasted cauliflower I've ever had in my whole life.
I just had some friends message me from some friends that are going to New York message me, and they were like, ABC's on the list. I said, definitely go to ABC. Definitely get that in. Get that in.
It's amazing. The best.
And don't share.
Don't.
Oh my
gosh. We went off on a big tangent.
We're learning about ourselves today. Okay. Next chapter is cozy casseroles and skillets. I love my casserole because I love the word cozy. For me, it's like nothing's better than putting a bunch of stuff in a pan or a baking dish, putting it in the oven, walking away for 45 minutes and coming back. And you have got, if you're just cooking for like you and your partner, you've got meals for the night, and then you've got some like lunches for the week as well. Like it's a beautiful thing with casseroles. We've got chili shepherd's pie with sour cream potatoes. Get into it, everybody. Mediterranean cauliflower casserole, the cabbage cannellini with rosemary skillet and quinoa, and queso cruciferous casserole and queso dip. Tell us more. What's a casserole in here that really satiates for the family for you?
The chili with the sour cream potatoes is a big hit here. Big hit. I've served that.
So you're making sour cream out of? No, it's like a mashed potato on top with a sour cream vibe to it.
Well, you make cashew sour cream and like you whip it into the potatoes. And that into boiled potatoes, drained, whipped in with sour cream just by hand. And then they go on top of a chili. And the chili's in the soup and stew chapter. But that's just like, I served that for like a lot of different things. Having people over for like a weeknight dinner, like a kind of a game day, people over casually type thing. And then another one that I really love because I was so proud of myself for pulling it off, and we have it regularly, is the tofu shakshuka. So that's like a skillet dish, but I make the eggs just out of tofu, and you kind of like spoon them on into like the sauteed tomato mixture, and then you bake it in the oven until like they get golden. And I serve it with like like a whole grain sourdough. There's so many nice bakeries here in Taiwan. They do all kinds of vegan stuff. And that's something that I have made many times, and I keep coming back to it. I love a good tofu dish.
I just started flipping. The book is in front of me here, and I'm flipping through the photos. And I know I've already said it that they're gorgeous, but everybody, I mean, it's worth it. The book on photos alone is worth it. It's just your photography just keeps going and going and going, and this book is no exception. Like, you pulled out all the stops. It all is just so gorgeous in here.
Thank you so much.
That I had to look at the chili shepherd's pie with sour cream potatoes, and it just looks so yummy, and I want it so bad right now. I made your lasagna. My old boss at my last job here in Atlanta, her mother had passed away, and she was doing oil-free. And I just thought of this because I'm seeing this pan, and it made me think of the lasagna from the first book. So why not shout out the first book? But I made her lasagna. Your lasagna for her from the last. There's a lasagna in the last book, right?
There is. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I made the lasagna. Yeah. They were obsessed with it. They loved it. And it was great because I had somebody who was oil-free and gluten-free and vegan, and I was able to flip open your book and take them a comforting dish like during a time that they really needed it. And she appreciated it so much because, you know, everybody's probably bringing them stuff, but it's not oil-free and it's not. So like I really scored some points with my boss. So thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this. Okay, cozy casseroles and skillets. Moving on to the next chapter, which is warm up, soothing soups and stews. Ashley, are you a soup only and soup season kind of gal, or soup all year round kind of gal?
Soup all year round. I love soup all year round, no matter the temperature. I am a huge soup fan. I'm not a big brothy soup fan. I'm more of like a cream soup or like a stew.
Yep. I like there to be some heartiness in it.
I can't tell you how many times I've tried to make, oh my God, what's the name of the soup? What's the Italian soup?
Minestrone?
Minestrone. I can't tell you how many times I've made a minestrone, and I'm like, it's okay.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
I would have liked it. I'd like it to be thicker. I want it to be more.
Yeah. Ooh. Do you have it in this book? Do you have a creamy minestrone? Maybe that's a thing.
Oh, but maybe I should write that down right now for like the next one.
That.
Creamy minestrone. Are we going to do that together? Should we do that in tandem?
Oh my gosh, it's our collab. The collab is finally here. We came up with it. The creamy minestrone.
But so no, I'm not a brothy soup person.
Yeah, I'm not really either. And we're talking too about them. We're talking about creamy soups or like heartier soups. What's one in this that serves well for like a dinner, like a dinner or a lunch that you're going to be satiated from if you sit down and you have a serving of it?
Oh God, there's a few in this book. I love this. I'm really proud of this chapter. The vegetable stew, winter vegetable stew. I think that's what it's called. That one is fantastic. I mean, that's just a great stew. It's just got like
winter vegetable stew with chickpeas.
That's it. So it's, it's got like the potatoes and turnip and carrots and sweet potatoes and fresh rosemary and thyme. And it's got layers and layers of flavor. And it's just like a classic stew that people will love. But I mean, obviously it doesn't have all of the components that are in like a regular stew. So it's really healthy. It's really filling. I love that one. Another soup I would have to shout out from that book though is from this book is the tomato bisque with Brazil nuts. So I make that, like, that is my tomato soup. That is my, like, everybody has like a tomato soup they love. That is my standard tomato soup. It is made with just canned tomatoes. It's ready in like 15 minutes. And it's creamy from Brazil nuts. So you're getting like your daily dose of selenium. For those of you who don't know, selenium is a mineral that you need for your immune system. And it's just not that easy to come by on a vegan diet. So Brazil nuts are, a great place to get them. And that's where the inspiration came from for the soup. I was like, how do I make this like essential nutritionally? Like what can I put in this to make it like a needed soup? And so we made it creamy with, as if Bernard's in the kitchen helping me. We enjoy it creamy with Brazil nuts. So yeah, I love that soup. That's one of my favorites.
Oh, that's so funny. Everyone should know that Ashley's the reason I was able to graduate culinary school. We went to a health supportive culinary school, and in the kitchen I would thrive. Like of course. I was nailing it in the kitchen when it came to being creative and like, I knocked it out of the park. But when it came to test and learning the nutrition of items, Ashley she stood by me. She would quiz me, like all the things. We had study sessions, and like because of her, I was able to pass And I was never, you have a gift because studying has always been hard for me. And like when I got with you and we would sit down and focus, you were able to deliver information to me in a way that was very digestible. So anyways, just letting everyone know.
Thank you. It's important. I think education is empowering. Like once you know
Yeah.
why you might want to eat something, it makes the motivation to eat it better.
Yeah.
Or
Absolutely.
easier.
And this chapter is full of delicious items that are healthful for us. We have essential 2-lentil soup. There's the butternut squash dal and cashew milk and kale. Oh my gosh, before I name more, since we were talking about tomato soup. No, tell me about this one. Tell me.
No. This one is one that's on my website. So it's on riseshinecook.ca right now. And I did like a video of me cooking it and stuff like that. That is one of my favorite recipes in the whole book.
The butternut squash dal with cashew milk and kale. So everyone listen, you can get this recipe for free then right now to test this out.
Right now.
Want, right?
Yeah, right now on my website.
.ca. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, it sounds delicious too.
But go ahead. Tomatoes.
Oh no, mine's way off topic. We were talking about tomato soup, and there was a woman I saw on a news segment making tomato soup out of tomato paste and tomato paste only. Have you ever heard of such a thing?
Oh no.
I was disgruntled. Is that the right word? I was
challenging.
Not happy.
Either she's a magician or it was crap.
Well, and they were all like, ooh, and I was like, no. It was very upsetting.
Yeah, no, I've never heard of that. Never heard of that.
A friend sent me a clip and I was like, what is happening in this right now?
Hold on. I lost an earbud. Here we go.
There we go.
Sorry.
I got you back on track.
Yeah.
So that butternut squash, anyways, speaking of back on track, Dustin, reel it in. Butternut squash dal with cashew milk and kale. It sounds delicious. I love a cashew milk. We're making that from scratch. Butternut squash. I love a dal. Put the butternut squash in with it. We're good to go. We've got, I'm assuming red lentils will be in this perhaps.
Yes.
With the butternut.
Yes.
Oh, sounds so hearty and satisfying. And everyone can get that recipe right now at riseshinecook.ca to give this a whirl here. And also everyone should keep a look on Ashley's Instagram at riseshinecook and also sign up for her newsletter because you'll send out a couple more recipes in the next month before.
I will. There's more coming. Yep.
Yeah, so people can try stuff. We've got roasted red pepper soup with herbed pumpkin seed croutons, curried squash and apple soup with almonds, and just so many different options in here. Carrot, turmeric, and ginger soup, a classic. Love it. The next chapter is
so
At Home Gourmet, the carrot turmeric soup.
Yeah, so good. One of my favorite. Like, if I'm out somewhere and that's on a menu, I'm like, I'll have that one.
Yeah.
This is a carrot ginger soup. I'll have that.
It's very hard to mess it up, right? Like it
is. It is
forward.
Usually really good.
Together, yeah.
Right.
Our next chapter is At Home Gourmet, impressive and easy entrees. So, what's the most impressive entree that we have here then?
Ooh,
I know what I think it is because I made this one, but go ahead.
Okay. I think it's the flatbreads with roasted vegetables and the lemon tahini sauce. Because, and as you know, when you're writing a cookbook, usually you have, your dedicated testers. And like about a month ago, one of the testers wrote me again, and she was like, I lost the recipe. I can't find it in my email. Can you send it to me today? And I didn't get back to her. And she was like, don't worry. I went through all my email files and I found it in a deleted folder. They loved it. And I love it. And it's really, really easy. Like it's really, really easy. And essentially you make flatbreads out of just soaked red lentils. That's it. And it doesn't take forever. You cook them kind of like pancakes. And then you put these delicious baked vegetables on top. It's just
another photo in here that I'm obsessed with that one. Oh, by the way.
Yeah. Well, okay. So inside photo scoop, I guess.
Yeah.
I was shooting this and I was like, I am not happy with this. I was like standing on my table doing like an overhead shot and I was like, I hate this. And then I was like standing with my camera like in my hand. I was like, I'll just take one more. And that was the shot.
And that's the one.
You know what I mean? And I wasn't even standing in the way that I thought the light would hit it. Like I was just like, okay, I'll just do one more. And I was looking through and I was like, that sucks. And I was like, oh my God, that's it. Yeah,
isn't that amazing? And then sometimes it's the first one you took and you spend a ridiculous amount of time trying to capture something.
Moving
and then
spoons and changing
the first one's the best one.
First one's the best one. Yep. In this case, the last one was the best one. Yep.
I just love the way that flatbread looks. And when you're talking about this, so again, everybody, this chapter is At Home Gourmet, impressive and easy entrees. I want to talk about the cream of corn risotto and marinated tempeh. So I made this and it was easy. It was so straightforward. And also I was able to like plate it up. Like, you know, dinner is an interesting time in this house, as I'm sure it is for you, because there's always something being worked on, right? And there's always it's like always delicious and always great, but it's not always impressive. Sometimes it's just like thrown on a plate. That's a lie.
Yep.
And I'm trying, you know,
I was like,
I mean,
at your house, I feel like you're like, oh, I just made a tray of like
right.
ganache cinnamon buns. And I'm like, what? Like, no, everything at your house is always good.
Like we do the same. You'd think in our brains, we're like, oh, I didn't do much to that plate, but ultimately, like, it's better than like, you know,
yeah, I'm like, you
sure
forgot
the
the garnish.
general household. Yeah, exactly. Like we always have stuff on hand to garnish between photography and recipe testing, all the things.
Oh, yeah.
All that to say, this was like a very beautiful plate. Like it was this, you know, cream of corn risotto. So it was like a little, had a bright like yellow hue to it, or like a pale, I should say, not bright. It was just like a subtle hint of like yellow to it. And then like the marinated tempeh, which we all know I love a marinated tempeh. And I often forget about tempeh because it's not in my face all the time here in Atlanta. So I was able to make that, and you just set it on the top so nicely. It was just,
and you know,
so delicious and satisfying.
That was the inspiration for the chapter, because I find myself, again, the foodie side. I love presentation and I love making really nice dinners at home. And I think there's two things. This assumption that plant-based dinners are like only like, you know, just like whole foods put on a plate in like a bootable fashion, or something that doesn't look very nice. And the other thing is that a lot of people think that if you are making a nice meal then it's going to be like unhealthy. But plant-based can look gorgeous and can give you that high-end factor that you want to serve guests, but also it doesn't need to take forever. And that chapter actually was the last one I added. These were recipes that were hanging around, and I was like, because we're talking about plant-based delicious, like when I think about delicious, I'm like, I think about eating out. I also think about a gorgeous experience. And that was kind of the inspiration for those recipes.
I love that. And you're providing that here. This has that Moroccan pot pies with almond pastry in it that we talked about.
That also, like, oh God. So that is like, I love serving that to guests. So we had people over for dinner, and I served that to them just to get, you know, to get a non-vegan's approval.
Yeah.
Because I appreciate that. And they were just like, I love this. I love this crust. What's in this crust? And I was like, excellent. And I mean, the Moroccan filling, like cinnamon, turmeric, like garlic, all those things. So that one's a great as well. And also in the picture of the book, I have it served in individual servings. So people get their own pot pie. But the recipe can also be altered, and there's an instructions how to make it just like a 9-inch pot pie as well.
Yeah, that's great, because some people will be like, I don't have ramekins, I can't do this, but well, she's got you covered. Then you can do it one way or the other way. I love pot pies. I just think, one, they're impressive, and two, they're always hearty, and three, familiar. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, a pot pie. And I think also unexpected, right? If you serve these, someone's like, oh my gosh, you made me a pot pie. Like it feels very like
so nice.
caring. Yes.
I think I say that in the intro. I'm like, is there anything better than being given your own little pot pie? Like, I don't think so. Like, I'd like to get my own pot pie.
The only thing that's better, if
I would die if someone served me my own pot pie, like a vegan one, I'd be like, okay.
I mean,
you're getting put in my will. Like,
come on, come through with that. I think the only thing more impressive is if someone cuts out like your initials on the crust and like puts it on the top. I'm just leveling up a little here.
That's next level. Okay, you can do that. You do that and send me a picture.
That'd be great for if you're hosting, if someone hires you to do a private dinner party. Could you imagine little personal pot pies, and like just your, it doesn't have to be,
amazing.
You know, like if your name is Leslie, there's an L on it. Like, amazing. Anyway,
but if it's like an S would be challenging.
It would be, but we'll get little cutters. We'll cut them out. We'll make it all uniform. It'll be great. We've also got roasted mushrooms and wild rice with almond milk in here. And I almost made these last night. I might make them tonight because I've got cauliflower on hand. The maple bacon cauliflower steaks with lentils and ranch dressing. Everybody get into it. So many great things in here. I love the photo of that in here. And then we get to the final chapter here. Sweet endings, irresistible desserts, and treats. So I'm obsessed with desserts. I love them. And I love that in this world of oil-free cooking, and gluten-free cooking at that, you have not shied away from the desserts. In the last book and this book, you make sure that we are satisfied with them. There is a raw cinnamon roll in the last book that I have raved about to you gazillion many
It's so
times. I've
good.
probably
Yeah.
made 4 or 5 times. And I just love to have it on hand. I love to put it in the freezer after I make it and have the slices for him. But I find I just want to eat it all too. So like I can't make it that often because like I'll just eat. I want to eat the
I
whole
know.
thing. I'm like, this is
I
delicious.
know.
But so many different. There's such a variety in here. So we've got chameleon cookie dough, 2-bite cookie dough squares, chocolate pudding 3 ways, double chocolate chip chickpea cookies, molasses gingerbread loaf with buttercream icing, peanut butter caramel cookie sandwiches. Come on. Mint chocolate ice cream cheesecake, sesame maple apple crumble.
Crumble, that one. Oh, that one's so good. I have made that one so many times. It's like, I just love an apple crumble, but I also think tahini and maple syrup together is like the most gorgeous, gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
I'm getting getting tongue tied.
Gorgeous.
Most like gorgeous combination. I love that. I love that one. I have to say this chapter was, you touched on it. It can be really challenging to make a dessert that is plant-based. So, is leaning healthy, sugar, sugar, sugar. So, we don't use any white sugar at all. But like, when you're thinking about desserts, you're just like, okay, there's going to be a sweet element. So keeping that in mind and not using coconut oil, I feel like the challenge is there. And so with the first book, I really felt the challenge. And with this book, these just came out of me, probably because I wanted sweet stuff so bad. But like,
sure.
I just love this chapter, and I have made these desserts are like now my regular desserts, like the molasses gingerbread with the buttercream icing. Like, oh my God, that I made that. I had a bunch of moms over with their babies, so all the moms and the babies,
love
and I put that out. I put that out, not having like any intro to it, just like this is gingerbread.
Yeah,
and it was like loved. And one of the moms asked me like for the recipe, or she's like, what is this? And I was like, actually, it's like gluten-free. She was like, oh my God. Like, oh, so what kind of flour do you use? And I was like, actually, there's no gluten-free flour blend in it. And she's like, what about the icing? I was like, well, it's vegan. And she's like, okay, so is it made with like vegan, like cream cheese? And I was like, no, it's actually not made. So, and then she asked me, she was like, can you make and sell these? And I was like, no. Because we both know making and selling food is a whole other
arena.
Thing.
Yes.
And I was like, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate that love and support. I will not be doing that.
Yeah, I love that. And then just in my freezer, like a few feet away from me right now, the latest is the chocolate peppermint chocolate ice cream cheesecake.
Yes,
that one.
Yes.
And that one has like no sugar in it at all. Even the cake part is just sweetened with dates. So that one's a great one too. I just love that chapter. I have to say that I love all the chapters, but I'm a tired mom of a 1-year-old.
Sure.
And I need my sweet stuff.
Yeah.
So I eat things from that chapter very often.
I love that. And it's I love talking about the different sweeteners. I just had Gina Fontana on from Healthy Little Vittles, and in her gluten-free baking book, she's got a whole chapter on natural sweeteners.
Yes.
And we were just having this discussion about refined sugars and how, I still eat things with refined sugar, but for the most part in my own cooking, I do not use it. And it's been just a process over time, right? And now when I have something with a lot of sugar, refined sugar, like, oh my gosh, I feel it. And I'm like, ooh, I don't like this,
It's almost like you get jittery.
Yeah. I mean, it's a drug. There's a movie, I can't remember the documentary, but the woman is basically like, she's like, we're putting heroin in our kids' veins with sugar. And I'm like, you're being very dramatic, but also like, I feel like you're not entirely wrong. Like sugar
is not entirely wrong.
Terrible. And when you don't have it for a long time and then you have something with it and you feel that jolt from it, you're like, oh my gosh, like I'm high right now.
Taste it. When I bite into something with white sugar, I'm like, ugh. What? Oh God, all I can taste is like this tang of over the top sweet. Like none of the other flavors come through. But yeah, that's excellent that she has that review there. I mostly stick to 2 sweeteners in all of my baking. I pretty much. Do you remember in culinary school, like that chapter we went through all the different sweeteners? Some of those things are complicated. Some of these all natural sweeteners are like a lot, right? Like you have to like get them flown in from different places. It's just different. So for me, I stick with, if I can't sweeten it with whole foods, so like bananas, or dried dates or any other dried fruit. If I can't use something like that, or apples, then I go to coconut sugar or maple syrup. Those are the only 2 sweeteners I have in my house. And even when you're using those, there's other things you can add to reduce the sweetener required, such as spices, like some nut butters, just different ways of making things, adding fruits to a particular recipe. So those are the two that I stick with. And I feel like this book is really great at showing you how to use those two quite in a convenient way, but also in interesting ways.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I can't wait to make more of the sweet things from here, like this Black Forest cake chia pudding parfait. Like, come on now.
Oh, that is okay. That's the cupcake. There's one recipe. I wanted to call this recipe the cupcake. I call it the chocolate cupcake. It was one of those ones that I feel like I tested probably, I don't know, 10 times, and I had mostly failures.
Yeah.
Because I really, really, really wanted to make a cupcake that had a different texture than a muffin.
Sure.
So I really had to experiment. I didn't want to use oat flour because I knew it would be like cakey. And it's amazing. I would love for you to make those and tell me what you think. And then from the cupcake, you make the Black Forest cake chia pudding.
Delicious.
Oh my God. I want that right now.
So good. Everybody, that's Sweet Endings, Irresistible Desserts and Treats. And that's the end of the book. Tell us about your book brag, something you're most proud of when it comes to plant-based delicious.
I think it's the best collection of delicious recipes. I hope that's not too obvious, but I really mean it. Like, I feel there's something for everything. There is quick and easy 30-minute sheet pan, one pot. There's like gorgeous high end, I'm having people over for dinner. There's like, it's Friday night, I want to stay in and watch a movie. There's, I'm having people in for brunch. What should I serve them? There's, I want to impress. There's, I want to indulge. There's, I want satisfaction. And I just love that about it. And I love this book.
I love it.
And I haven't always been able to say that about things I've made because I'm always afraid of, when you have a dream about doing something, and then when you get in the arena, you're like, oh, there's criticism, there's reviews, there's
and you start to question things.
And there's comparison, and then you're like, oh God, am I? Do I? Should I? But I love this book. I'm so proud of it, and I really feel like it's part of my personal journey. I know that sounds so dramatic, but as someone who makes things like you do, each thing you make is kind of reflects where you're at in life, and for me, it's just more mature. It's more like soulful, soul felt. It's more layered. It's got depth. And I'm so pleased with myself that I could show my insides on paper.
Yes, I love that. It's a timestamp, really, when authors write cookbooks of where you are in a culinary landscape with yourself. It really is.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I love that.
It is.
And I'm so grateful that we get to be in on where you're at with all of this because it is plant-based delicious. Yes. We're going to move on to your rapid fire. Are you ready for this?
Oh, I love rapid fire. Yes, go.
Yes. Okay. Number one. First Beyonce song that pops into your head right now.
Drunken Love.
I love it. What is the perfect coffee order for you?
Oat milk latte.
Favorite kind of muffin?
Banana blueberry.
Most used emoji?
Kissy face.
Yes. Have you ever been told you look like someone famous, and who?
Yes.
Who?
But I don't agree, but I'll say it. Two. There's two. I'm going to give you the two. One is the Olsen twins. I don't know how you feel about that. And the other one is Reese Witherspoon. And the other one is Reese Witherspoon, which I also don't really get, but they're there.
Okay.
Right? Maybe
can see all the things. Okay. All right. Okay. Someone told me once Vince Vaughn for me, and I was like, I don't see that, but thanks. First of all, he's like 7 feet tall, but all right.
I do not see that. Oh, wait.
They've told me that I do agree with.
You always tell me I look like Kelly Ripa.
I do. I wondered if that was going to be one of the ones
you said. When you
said
were the one.
I was like, what? Is there a food ingredient you used to majorly dislike, but you love now? This one's
I'm so glad you asked me this question because I've been thinking about writing about this. I used to loathe, capital L, loathe cilantro. If it was in something,
interesting,
I was like, I can't eat the entire dish. And so then I looked into it and it was like, yes, okay, it's a genetic thing. Some people love cilantro. It tastes like lemon. It's fresh and beautiful.
Sure.
Some people, it tastes like soap. And I was one of those people.
Yep.
And then over the last 3 years, I'm like, oh my God, I love cilantro.
Sure.
So now I'm thinking, can it change? Can that gene swap? Have I challenged my cilantro genes so much that they like swapped over or switched over?
I
Anyways,
gotta,
so hated, now I love it.
that's very interesting because I hated cilantro. I wouldn't say I love it, but I like it now and I'm fine with it. I no
Hmm.
longer hold issue with it. So
But like
that's very
before, it would take
interesting.
over everything,
Oh yeah,
right?
it was like, do not, if there's cilantro on that, don't give it. And now I get kind of annoyed when somebody says that because I'm like, just chill out and relax. Like I put it in a chorizo bowl I did recently, and I put like a tablespoon of an everyone listening, a great way to spruce up your salads is to put like a tablespoon of chopped fresh herbs in it. Just throwing
Love
that out
that.
there because
Hmm.
I've been
Hmm.
doing that a lot more lately and it really gives it a nice little pop. Anyways, I put cilantro in this one and I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about that. And I did it and I was like, oh my God, I love this because
Love
like just
it.
it's just a little flavor every now and then. But I get it. I'm also not hating on people who hate cilantro. I get it. You're in a place we were once there. We were once there.
Yeah. Now I'm a
Uh
cilantro lover.
do you have a favorite tradition or holiday?
Oh, yes. My favorite holiday is Christmas, and my
Mhm.
favorite tradition is Christmas Eve.
I
My
love
husband
it.
and I stay at my parents' house, and we stay up late and drink and just like,
I love it.
yeah, hang out. Yeah.
I will say I don't drink anymore, and drinking on Christmas Eve is one of the things I miss. I'm always like,
I'm sorry.
no, no, oh my God, please don't be sorry. I'm always like, no, I want a cocktail right now. And then I'm like, I'll just go to bed instead.
It's honestly though, it's the idea of it. It's the
Oh yeah.
idea of
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah, yeah.
know, you're like, I want it, and then you have it. You're like, this moment right now is the moment I want.
And
It's not how
actually,
you
now
feel
that you
after.
say that, I'm just gonna get myself some
Parent.
zero proof like whiskey this year and have myself a
Yeah.
little whiskey on the rocks and be done with it. There we
Oh,
go. We're in
what
a
I
world where this
do,
can be done now.
I put my kombucha in the freezer until like it's just really, really, really cold, and I put it in a beer glass, and I'm
Oh,
like, I'm good.
delicious.
Or a wine glass. Yeah,
Yeah, I've been
love
putting
that.
kombucha in a wine glass. I love that. Dress
Yeah,
dress up your non-alcoholic stuff,
yeah.
everybody. What did you bake last?
Muffins from my first cookbook.
What were they? What
The
kind?
almond apple chickpea muffins from my first cookbook.
Delicious. I'm here for
I
it.
also feed them to George.
Oh, I
Chickpeas.
love that. And he loves them.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, Georgie Porgy. What's your favorite way to season popcorn?
Nutritional yeast, turmeric, sea salt, black pepper, all together.
All those together. Yeah,
All those together. Yeah.
I love that. Okay. Someone you haven't seen in concert that you want to see.
Oh, you might not know who these people are. The Teskey Brothers.
Okay.
They're an Australian band. I am obsessed with them, and I
I
would love
want
to
to
see
know
them in concert.
now.
Yeah.
Okay, writing that down.
Yeah.
What is your cell phone wallpaper?
George.
It's the babe, the
Yeah.
baby, the baby.
Hmm.
I love it, Mr. George. Are you a good dancer?
Yeah.
Like at
I
a
am a good
party?
dancer.
Do you like at a wedding? Do you get
I think
down?
so. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, Bernard and I get down. We wipe
Okay,
the floor. Yeah.
okay. I
Yeah.
feel bad for David that I do not enjoy the dancing.
Um,
But I also feel it's part of my own personal thing I'm working through of just getting out. And I feel like it's not about dancing for me. I need to get out there. It'll be a
I
cathartic
feel like you're a
experience
good
for me to
dancer.
let go. There have been times
I
when
feel like just watching
suddenly
your
it takes
gesture.
over and I am dancing and I'm like, I'm having the best time and I don't know what's happening. I just wish that that was something that turned on
Yeah.
very like instinctually for me because there have been times, I'm not saying I've never done it. There have been times I've done it and I leave and I'm sweating and I have like done it up for the night. But
Yeah.
I mean, I could say probably under 10 times in my lifetime has that happened. More often than not, I'm like,
Okay.
David, if you want to go dance, you can dance.
You
Like, I
can go
don't
dance.
really, like, I will
Oh, it's
say that
why I go to weddings. I'm like, when are we getting to the part where we dance?
how was the dancing at my wedding for you? Was it not okay because like the surrounding was not like because I just went to a
Your
wedding where
wedding
like it
was
was
the
like
most.
the dance floor was so little that I was like I can't get involved in that. I don't know what's happening. And I know my
Yeah, if it's
wedding
too
was a little
small where
private.
you feel like you're on display, but it wasn't. Your wedding was so cozy. I had the best time at your wedding. I feel like
I
at
did
3
too.
a.m. someone should have told me to go home.
Ah!
But that after party, I don't even know where we went for the after party. That was fun as well. No, your wedding was the best. It was
Somewhere
great.
we went to a gay bar that I can't remember the name of in Brooklyn, down the way from it. I can't remember the name of it, but I remember my aunt and my aunt. There were a couple older people from my family that went, and like there was like a poster on the door of like, they're not naked men, but something suggestive happening on a poster with two gay men, and I was like, well, this is where we are for the night. Everybody have a good time.
Yeah, it was great. I had the best time.
Okay, so you are a good dancer. I'm a questionable dancer.
I wouldn't say I'm a good dancer. I'm not a bad dancer.
You enjoy it.
I enjoy dancing.
There we go. That's probably the question. Yeah. And your last question, what has been one of the most, when you're recipe testing, is there an ingredient in Taipei that's been the hardest to source?
Oh my God, you've been around. There's so many.
I'm so curious what you're going to say.
I'm like, which one? Okay. I'm going to say fennel, because fennel is just, I cannot find it. And one singular time, I found 2 tiny little bulbs of fennel, 2 tiny, and each one fit in I have tiny hands, fits here. Each bulb was $30 US.
Oh my gosh.
So I did not buy it. I was making a fennel soup, and I was like, well, you know what? We're not making a fennel soup. So there's no fennel.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
There are very few fennel recipes, but I've gone through everything here. Like, and it's once you find where to figure out where to get stuff, it's excellent. But the process of discovering where to get certain things was challenging.
Well, and I had to ask because I was thinking of, on my last book, Epic Vegan Quick and Easy, I have that whole roasted cauliflower in there. And well, 2 things. You couldn't get tater tots and you couldn't get cauliflower. And they were 2 things that like I really wanted photos of. And you kept kind of being like, hey, so this one's a bit of a struggle. And I was just like, I know, I just really want them and I don't know.
Do you remember I sent you a video from a market? I found a market, guys, like a street market with one vendor who imported American cauliflower. And I almost cried. I got on my knees and I was like, thank the sweet baby Jesus. And yes, and then the tater tots, well, we all know what happened there.
And let's tell everyone, because I'm sure we spoke about it before, but I will tell everyone, Ashley came through, is a good friend, and made tater tots from scratch for the photo for the cheesy burger.
I handmade tater tots.
And they look amazing.
I will tell you, they were actually, I was like, this isn't so hard.
Well, I remember when you got done and you were like, I'm very proud of these. You're like, I made tater tots and I'm very proud of these. And they look fantastic. So that was your rapid fire. Well done.
Thank you. I feel like we did it long.
Thanks for playing. It's all good. It's all good. Well, I appreciate you playing along. And everyone, be sure to pre-order your copy of Ashley's new book, Plant-Based Delicious, Healthy, Feel-Good, Vegan Recipes You'll Make Again and Again everywhere books are sold. And you want to do it now before June 13th. So you can go to riseshinecook.ca and you can submit your proof of purchase from your pre-order and you'll get the ebook, right?
That is correct.
Yes. So everybody go do it now. Ashley, tell everyone where they can find you online and also on social media, please.
They can find me on my website, www.riseshinecook.ca. I answer all messages left there, and you should sign up for my newsletter there because I do answer all the emails that I get. Yes. And that's mostly where I live, is on my website and in my email. Yep. But I'm also obviously on Instagram as Rise Shine Cook and also on Facebook as Rise Shine Cook. So yeah, those are the 3 places that I hang out most. And I love getting emails and messages from people. So
yes, and everybody go sign up for that newsletter on riseshinecook.ca so you're getting some free recipes and tidbits your way. Ashley, always a delight. I love you, darling. Thank you for making the time to come on and chat about this fabulous contribution to the cookbook world, Plant-Based Delicious, coming out June 13th. I'm so happy for you, and I'm so proud of you. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to have you as a friend in the professional world, but also personally. You've added so much to my life in so many ways. So
it's mutual. Yeah. You know it. I love you.
I love you too.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Keep On Cookin'. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and leave us a review if you like the podcast. It helps a lot.
Yeah. and get more information on the podcast, Dustin's cookbooks, the Vegan Roadie series, and sign up for our newsletter at veganroadie.com.
And of course, follow us at The Vegan Roadie on all social media platforms. Now get in the kitchen and keep on cooking. And hey, remember, it's nice to be nice. This has been a Muzzy Cat production.